Good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday, the 22nd of April, and in today's engaging spiritual depth, I want to talk about a very powerful spiritual practice that I'd like to share with you. It is something that it doesn't take very long to do, but it can structure the way you can spend a little bit of time with your inner self, your true self, your emotions, and with God every day in a kind of structured sort of way. Again, it doesn't take too much time, but it helps slow time down, because that's kind of what we want with spiritual practices. At least part of it is that we slow things down so that we can truly live in the moment. And what I want to talk to you about today is something called the Examen. And Courtney, maybe you can put up the picture that I sent to you. And Courtney, if you can't, if Courtney wasn't able to do it, it's certainly not her fault. I sent it to her this afternoon. So it's called Reimagining the Examen, and it's in either your Apple App Store or your Google Play Store. Reimagining the Examen, and it's the Examen was something that was given to us by Saint Ignatius of Loyola back in the 1500s. He founded the Jesuit order, and it's just a way of daily prayer. And he would have all of his priests and monks do this twice a day, once at noon and once, I believe, at bedtime. I find doing it for me in the morning and then maybe in the afternoon very helpful. But a lot of it is looking forward to tomorrow and reviewing your day. So basically, it's you become aware of God's presence. You review the day with gratitude. You pay attention to your emotions. Choose one feature of the day and pray about it. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then look toward tomorrow. So our reading for this week, and yesterday I introduced the quiz, and also hopefully you'll give me some feedback as to what strikes you from Luke 24 verses 13 through 35, which is commonly known as Jesus meets the disciples on the road to Emmaus. And one of the things that I thought about this is how I mentioned yesterday how it says that they did not recognize Jesus, even though they were disciples of Jesus. And he was standing right in front of them, and they couldn't recognize him. In essence, he was a stranger. To Mary Magdalene, he was a stranger at the tomb. To the disciples, until he showed them the marks in his hand and side. He was a stranger. And I wonder if you can think about this story as we talk about Jesus meeting two of the disciples on the road to Emmaus, and he ends up reading this or talking to them about the scripture and opening their eyes and their minds towards the end. But he's a stranger to many of these people. What significance does the stranger have in this? And so for today's Examen, and this is something that pops up every day. If you have time to do it, great. I would really recommend it. It really slows things down, and you can really spend some quality time with yourself and with God. So today, it's who wore God's face today. So I thought I would just kind of go through this, today's Examen, and go through it. Who wore God's face today? The first step, and it plays music. I begin by praying the Our Father or the Lord's Prayer, and I ask God to make his presence known to me in this moment. I feel his presence around me and rest in it. I spend a few moments in gratitude, thanking God for one or two of the blessings, big and small, that I've received today. 3, I look back on my day and ask God, who wore your face for me today? At what moment did you come to me through the words or actions of another person? I think about that moment and I relish it, and I give thanks and praise for the gift of that person in my life. Then I look again at my day and I ask God, in what person did I fail to find your presence? What person did I judge to be without goodness? I relive that difficult moment in my mind, speaking to God about why that moment was so difficult for me. I say to God whatever wells up in my heart. I ask for wisdom. I beg forgiveness. I ask for healing. I ask how God was hidden in this person and how I might call forth that presence the next time I encounter that person. Next, I look again at my day and I ask God, was there some person I encountered today who needed me to be your hands, your feet, your voice, your presence? Did I succeed in manifesting your presence for this person? I try to identify one person for whom I failed to be God's presence. I ask for wisdom, healing. I then try to come up with one person for whom I did succeed at being the presence of God. I relish this moment, giving thanks for it. Then I ask God to show me a person who might really need me to be God's presence the next time I encounter her or him. I pray dream that moment, that is, I play out in a prayerful imagination how it might go. If I truly am able to manifest God's presence for this person tomorrow or the next day, I try to identify one grace I might need to make this happen. I ask God for this grace right now. If I feel called to do so, I promise God to do a particular thing based on what I've prayed about during this examen. I end by making the sign of the cross, saying the Lord's Prayer, whatever way you find as a way where you can sort of come to some closure with this time with yourself and with God. Again, it's called Reimagining the Examen. It's free, I believe. It was when I downloaded it. Reimagining the Examen in the Apple Store, Apple App Store, or Google Play. I would really recommend it. It will really slow you down, and it doesn't take long to do each day. God bless you, and hope to see you tomorrow. We will have the quiz link posted up, and remember, there's the big $10 gift certificate to Apple Lucy's if you're able to answer those 3 questions and we draw your name. God bless. See you soon. Bye-bye.